And in this next discussion, we're talking to Stanlib on their 2022 market outlook, asset allocation, and of course, we want to find out their 2022 stock selections. Here with us today is Herman van Velze, the head of Equities and Balanced Team at Stanlib. So Herman, paint us a picture from a global macroeconomic perspective. What are the major risks and opportunities that you're seeing?
It's a pleasure to be on the show. Let us say 2021 was a remarkable year for equities. We saw equity markets deliver quite exceptional returns throughout the year. So one would immediately wonder what happens and will that perpetuate or persist into 2022. What is pleasing from our analysis to see is that the market actually are reflecting what earnings and profits have done last year. So we at least are starting this year with a sort of a good backdrop of strong earnings that were delivered in 2021. And our expectations is that earnings for 2022 will also grow substantially above trend. So from a market status or standpoint from the start of the year, we think there's still a fair amount of opportunity in equities.
And what's your projected growth number for South Africa?
We project equities to do double digits, so above 10%. So we're quite comfortable to see equities do inflation plus quite a bit of margin. So for us, equities remain still an interesting and for us still a high priority in our balance funds.
Okay, and in terms within that, where do you see the value in terms of sectors to look out for?
It's been quite I think this year we've seen the first few months the recent announcements from the Fed that interest rates potentially will have to be hiked in the US. We've also seen inflation picking up across a fair number of industries, and headline inflation across just about every economy has increased. So there's been some sort of a little bit of a dislocation from where we were previously with ultra accommodating monetary and fiscal policy. Nevertheless, consumers are still quite flush with cash, especially in the US, and also consumers are paying up for higher prices. So from sector's point of view, we probably still of the view that consumers are going to be an attractive sector to be, and followed by banks, given that banks have been quite, I would say, quite lethargic to extend any credit, and they've been improving credit criteria. So our view is that first few sectors will be consumers, banks, and then especially in South Africa, the healthcare sector. COVID has really taken the toll on elective surgeries and elective procedures. So this is probably a year where we'll probably see that catch up a bit.
Okay, and within consumer specifically, what are your specific stock picks for 2022?
We still prefer the quality retailers such as Pepkor, Dis-Chem are to our overweights. We also have a view that these shares will continue to gain. Food retail, which is Spar and ShopRite, are also linked into the same space. So we are the view that there's still a fair amount of activity in markets, and I think consumer markets, especially the lower end consumers.
And within banks?
Banks has been quite interesting. It's been probably most banks are looking quite healthy, especially given the expectations for earnings and the balance sheet recovery post-COVID. We prefer Absa and Capitec in the banking sector.